All right, so let's go back to our format a little bit of a weekend review, all the things that have happened. And let's start a little bit. I know that our listeners don't necessarily care about hearing our views of politics, but we can dumb it down for a second and just talk about what's happened in the last week. Do you need to cough?
Oh no, it's like ongoing.
Oh,
Keep going.
okay. So obviously, President
After
Trump
all,
is,
what crazy election.
yeah, crazy election. There has been, we had someone come on our show, 2 months before the election. She was the internet's most notorious astrologer. Her name is Amy Tripp. She goes by the sign Star Heel. She predicted that Donald Trump would win the election, even though it had looked in the polls at the time she was on like that would be almost impossible because Kamala was a rising star at the time. So she predicted correctly. I will tell you that she did come on my show the day before in an impromptu move to say
Okay.
that the stars had realigned and she was changing her pick to Kamala.
No,
She
no.
did. She did. And what's
She should
interesting
have gone
about,
with her gut.
I know she's an astrologer. She's not supposed to go with her gut. She's supposed to go with the stars and the moons and Uranus or whatever. So
Oh, true.
so here's the thing. She texted me the other day. She couldn't get out of bed for like 5 days. She was so upset. Okay.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, she really
Wait,
was.
with what? With what? Her miss judgment or her
Yes.
changing her mind or what?
Yes. That she shouldn't have changed her mind. And,
Oh,
I gave her this talk about, listen, you cannot go with your gut. I don't know if that was a move because of your gut or because of what you were seeing. Either way, you're going to learn from it. So now she's come out with a new prediction. You ready for this?
tell me.
She says between November 17th and November 22nd that Joe Biden is going to step down and let Kamala be president until January 20th, whatever it is, when they switch powers. So she believes she wasn't necessarily completely wrong. She thinks that Kamala will be the first woman president of the United States for that short amount of time. So that's her latest prediction.
Wouldn't that be wild?
It would be
Wouldn't
well.
that be wild? Would not. I've actually seen that idea floated. I don't know. Okay, we'll have to see. I don't
We
know.
will see. I don't know that I would think that that's a terrible idea because, I think having a woman as a president is a big deal. I don't think that they should just hand that to somebody for a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would think that would be awfully patronizing to, I don't know, our entire system, don't you think? Like,
I
I
do.
mean,
I think I agree.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, unless he truly was so incapacitated, which, yesterday he welcomed President Trump now to the White House. They sat down together, certainly looked like a peaceful transfer of power between the two of them. We'll see what comes out, behind the scenes. But
Yeah, BFFs, right? They looked, and have you seen that meme that's now going around where it's Trump and Biden dancing, going hiking together? Have you seen this? It's
oh,
hysterical. I'm going to send it to you.
okay,
But
send it to me.
so, all right, here's what else has happened in the last week, which I find incredibly interesting. So, Trump has started to announce the people that he is going to pick as his cabinet. Have you read anything about this yet?
Not as much as I should because I've
Okay.
been nonstop reality television, but a little bit here and there
Okay.
of Elon and Vivek getting appointments, Tulsi Gabbard,
Hmm.
and of course the most controversial one is Matt Gaetz.
Right. So let's talk about that for a second. I'm going to read this to you
Tell me,
because in the last 24 hours, this is kind of a big deal. So Republicans have semi-officially won a 218th House seat yesterday, giving them control of the House. So the incoming Republican trifecta, they now have the House, the Senate, and the White House. They're going to start to reshape the government, at least for a while. But Trump is not making it easy because he's picking such controversial people. Matt Gaetz has been somebody that's even a pill that's hard for the most loyal Republicans to swallow. He is the most disliked member of Congress. So says the news. Whatever. I
okay.
don't think that is not true. And most things that I read in the last 24 hours said that most people in Washington are stunned that Matt has been appointed. Also, other people, or that is his pick for attorney general. Also, as you mentioned, Tulsi Gabbard, she's his pick for director of national intelligence. Both of these people have little experience in their proposed jurisdictions, and they also have no experience at all in overseeing large organizations. Um, so I think what people are saying is this is a loyalty test. Like when it comes to the point where they are looking to appoint them, will any one of the Republicans put their foot down and say this isn't happening, or will they step aside and let it happen because they don't want Trump to see, that they are being disloyal?
I think Gates is going to be hard to get through because he does not seem well liked, to your point, by either party. I think Tulsi Gabbard will be. I think she'll be fine. I mean, to me, I know a lot of people are saying she doesn't have a lot of experience, but I mean, she was a House of Representative for Hawaii's second congressional district. I mean, she served in the military. She certainly knows how large organizations are run, 17 years in Hawaii's Army National Guard. I mean, she's
Well,
pretty
here's the thing.
well
She's going to
decorated.
be in charge of leading 18 spy agencies and overseeing a budget of $76 billion. I mean, I think that's a lot.
Yeah. But you don't think like her, I feel like her background, it's not like she's never been involved in politics or
Well,
hasn't been privy to the.
many critics have said as of this morning, quote unquote, her appointment would be a national threat to the security of the USA. Somebody else that people are questioning right now is the nomination of Pete Hegseth. I'm pronouncing his name wrong, maybe from Fox
Yes.
News.
Yes. From
Um,
Fox News.
so
Yeah.
I never saw who this guy was. Have you ever followed him? I'm not a Fox News
Well,
watcher.
he is certainly well accomplished in his background. He also, Army National Guard officer, is the nominee for United States Secretary of Defense, as you said. He's a Princeton grad.
I thought
He's
it was
got
Harvard. No.
It says that he was active in the conservative and Republican politics since his undergraduate days at Princeton. I think you're right, though. I think he went to either Yale Law School or Harvard. I
Something
think
like that.
is yeah, to get his
Well, he
he
has
got a
some
master's of
real
public
thoughts.
policy
Sorry.
from Harvard.
He has some real thoughts on changing, what's going on with active military. He wants to get rid of woke generals and he wants to take women out of combat. So I think that's gonna, ruffle some feathers. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that would ruffle feathers. Yeah.
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 So the thing going back to Matt Gaetz, the thing with him is that he was involved, he would be
Yes.
leading a justice department that was investigating him for sex trafficking until last year. So if
Correct.
people don't know this story, he was investigated because it was found out that he was on a site called Seeking Arrangement that is known for sugar baby and sugar daddy dating. And it was found to be the case that he was on it and talking with, um, paying women who are underage, so girls, to meet up with him, have sex with him, and another gentleman who I think was indicted, and I don't know if he's in jail now or what, but he got in a lot of trouble. So he has been cleared on this, I will say, but it was a
Yeah.
whole scandal. And so I think a lot of people have a problem with him.
Yeah, I mean, yes, and to your point, he was cleared, so I mean, you know, he is
Okay.
innocent. But it does sound like Matt Gaetz is not a very popular person
No,
in Congress
just
in
like
general.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, who I think is his best friend. And I'm kind of wondering if she's going to get any sort of appointment. If she does, I think people will like flip.
Yeah, she's super polarizing, so we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be wild to see.
So I don't know much about the government, but I would have thought that in the Constitution they put something in there that one party could not represent, the House, the White House, the Senate, all these different things because you have to have both sides represented. So I'm not really familiar with how terrible this is going to be for Democrats, how good it's going to be. I'm not really sure what that means, but it sounds like it could be a problem for anyone who is still, marching to the beat of the Democrat.
Well, look, I mean, Washington is notoriously slow to change, right? So, and that's why you have the midterm elections. That's why these Congress people and representatives have terms on their, on how long they can serve, and they have to be up for reelection. And, I mean, a couple of years ago when the Supreme Court overturned abortion, we saw in the midterm elections, the Republicans got wiped out. There was no red. They were thinking there was going to be a red wave in 2022. There was no red wave. I think Americans are much more centrist than what the pollsters and what you see on cable TV, hence my theory why I think cable TV has kind of jumped the shark.
Yeah.
And they just are more centered, when they went so far on abortion, Americans said, absolutely not. We want some form of abortion, especially when it comes to rape and incest and the safety of a woman, right?
Mm.
Then unfortunately, over the past couple of years, border really hurt the Democrats, I think, in this election. Big time, big time, big time. The woke policies that we've still seen, the gender stuff in schools, even though it's small, the problem is it does make a huge wave. And we're not coming back to, people are centrist about this. They don't care what your kid is or wants to be or anything like that. But what they do care is, here in California, if your child goes to school and suddenly says she's a boy and wants to be called Tim, the school does not have the right to tell you what's going on with your kid. I mean, that's bananas. People, they want some sort of in the middle. Most people are fine with LGBTQI plus rights, of course. But when it becomes like
wait, hold on. Do you think that's true? Most people are fine with it?
Yes. Yes. I come from an extremely conservative Maine family. I grew up with two gunkles. There was never a problem. Yes, there were people in my family that were religious and felt like it was a sin, but they were always welcomed. People had, differing beliefs. Yes. What people don't want is they don't want it with their kids and they don't want to feel that they have lost control of parenting. If a parent is abusive to their child to the point that the school feels like, hey, if this kid comes out as gay, they could be hurt. Yeah, then the school has an obligation. But unfortunately, what you've seen over the past 5 years is social workers at school, teachers, like policing their own beliefs onto kids and parents. We saw a huge backlash about this in this election. That's what you're seeing. The defund the police still has hurt the Democratic Party. And unfortunately, the Democratic Party does not have people that are willing to stand up and go, look, we need policing. People of color want better policing. They want fair policing, but they want cops on the street. They want to come home at night to a safe neighborhood. Everybody does. But you cannot find many Democrats that will stand up and say that. They're so afraid of offending that 5% of extremists. Same on the Republican side, these extremists that want no abortion rights. And America's far more in the middle. And I mean, it was shocking to me, this election, shocking. But I think it's a huge, I'm still a registered Democrat. I think it's a huge wake up call to the Democratic Party. I hope they take it seriously, but it's 50-50. I still see a lot of my friends saying they're not going to have Thanksgiving with their Trump family members. To me, that's just insanity.
Well, yeah, but what I do want to say, is that I live in MAGA country right now.
Yeah,
I'm
you
in
do.
Palm
You do.
Beach.
Sure.
I can tell you, I have plenty of friends that are gay, right? I can tell you that these people that I am around are not what you are saying. They are not conservatives that are in the middle about that stuff. They do not want. I was at Rudy Giuliani's house 12 days before the election for a forum, about what was going on, and there were women there who did not have children, who were in their 20s, talking about education and how drag queens and LGBTQ people should not be allowed to be teachers. Just insane stuff that didn't even make sense. They said drag queens are running every library in the school. I didn't even know what they were talking about.
Okay, that's crazy.
insanity.
Yeah, they're
Crazy. But
that's
these are
not.
the people that are being given a platform by someone like Rudy Giuliani, who I know people think has lost it, but it's somebody who is like a huge platform of the MAGA movement, So
I said most people, not
right.
all people. You are always going to have racist people. You are always going to have homophobic people. You are always going to have people that do not want any form of immigration. Unfortunately, I love a lot of my Floridians, but you do live in the heart of it. Now, I live in California on the other side of it, like that's like you can't get woke enough here,
Yeah.
So we both live in these polar extremes, but we saw, I think, from this election, people are far more in the middle. There are far fewer of the people that you went to Rudy Giuliani's house with.
I hope so, because I'd like to see some
Yes,
even keelness for the next 4 years.
there is when you get offline and you have normal conversations with people.
Yeah, right. Okay, so let's move on to more pop culture news.
So much of it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Where I know
okay.
far more.
Yes, well, me too.